Today I'm here to review episode 16 of The Walking Dead titled Welcome to the Tombs. In this episode right here, wasn't that good. To be quite honest, it wasn't that good. I'm just gonna keep it real. It wasn't. The only thing that kept me watching this episode was Andrea, because I felt so bad for her character. I really did. And second, the governor. Because this transformation he took was just amazing. He is now the true villain that I wanted him to be. And I love it. I love it. Now, I always knew that the governor was going to survive until season 4. And let me explain this. Okay, it's a small town called Sonora, Georgia. Now, Sonora, Georgia is where they filmed Woodbury at. AMC signed a contract with the mayor of Sonora, Georgia to be able to film there for 2 years. So I kind of seen the governor living until season 4. And season 4 will contain 16 episodes. So I kind of seen that. Now let's talk about Andrea's character. And by the way, Glenn Mazzara himself wrote this episode. Now, I don't like what they did with her character, especially within the entire season of season 3. I didn't like it. The inconsistency in her character was just dumb, especially when it came to the writing in her character. And then they decide to kill her off to redeem her character. And this right here, first thing when they did that, I thought about Lori. They did so bad with Lori's character, and then they decide to kill her off in the early episode of season 3, and then try to make her character redeemable, try to make people feel bad for her. I don't like what they do with these females on this show. Look at Andrea. Andrea plays a major role in the comic books, a major role, but now she's dead. Then on top of that, you have fans disliking her for what she was doing. Then Glenn Mazzara decides to kill her out and try to make her death redeemable. It makes people change their mind perspective about the way they viewed her in the earlier episodes of season 3. Andrea had the potential to live until season 4. When I seen this season finale, that made me wonder, why come Merle couldn't live? Why come Andrea couldn't live? Because this season finale was quite disappointing. I'm just being in all honesty here. And now, let me talk about a few things I seen in this episode. When Andrea puts the gun to her head, and she had blew her brains out with Rick's gun. We didn't get to see it, but if you pay attention, you can hear that revolver drop a bullet shell from out of it. Now, if you shot a revolver before, you would know it don't leave casings. It doesn't. But in this episode, you can hear a casing hit the floor. Now, a lot of y'all gonna say, "Well, it was the gun." No, I'm not even joking. Put some earphones on or something and watch the episode. You can hear literally a bullet casing hit the floor. And the revolver don't leave bullet casings. It don't. So that right there could have been a blooper or something on their end. Next, when Andrea got bitten by Milton, she got bitten in the same spot her sister Amy did in season 1. Except Andrea was going to die from a fever. Because Michonne tells her your head is hot. So she was going to die from a fever anyway. So I was like, come on, Glenn Mazzara. Really? The same spot her sister Amy got bit in? And then on top of that, they removed the scene with Andrea getting bitten. It's revealed that Milton bites Andrea on the arm and then he bites Andrea on the neck, but they removed the scene. I don't know why they removed the scene. Then the season finale was originally only 43 minutes. That's why I'm saying, man, that's something was up with this season. Because the season finale, the last two season finales for season 1 and season 2 was like an hour and something. I mean, straight hour. But this season finale was only 42 minutes. Even the season premiere for this season was only 40 or 43 minutes. In this episode right here was 43 minutes. Nah, that's if you cut the commercials. Now cut the commercials away from the episode and go back and watch the episode's original 43 minutes. And now, I also noticed in this episode that Rick is finally able to stay somewhere without leaving this season. Season 1, he found the CDC lab. It blowed up. He had to leave. Season 2, he finds Herschel's farm. It get overran by walkers. He got to leave. Now remember what I said about Rick's characterization. He was always looking for something long term. And for this moment, I say for this moment, as we speak, he's found something. Now season 4 is going to be different. I'm pretty sure they're going to have to leave the prison for season 4. But at least in this season, he didn't have to leave. Him and his group didn't have to leave the area where they was living in because of walkers or some accident happened about something blowing up. They actually found a little piece in this season. That's one thing I just had to point out. Another thing I want to point out. When Andrea was talking to Rick, she said something. It reminded me of season 1. And like I say, her death was so deep. Oh my God, man, it was so deep. When Michonne started crying, it just added more emotion to it, man. Cause like I say, the way they messed over Andrea's character it was so wrong. And they killed her off to try to make it seem like she was, I can't explain, redeeming, wanted fans to look at her and redeem her and look at her different. And I didn't like that because it's the same thing they did with Lori's character. The writing for the girls is bad. And when she had Rick gun in her hand, she tells Rick, I know how the safety works. Now in season 1, when Rick had found Andrea, she pointed the gun at him in the city of Atlanta, Georgia. And later on, she apologizes to Rick and she says, I'm sorry for pulling the gun out on you. And Rick forgives her. He tells her, next time you do it, make sure the safety is off. And he shows her how to turn the safety off. He said, if you see the red dot, that means the safety is off. Now, in episode 5 titled Wildfire, Andrea's sister ends up getting bitten by a zombie. And Amy ends up dying. And now you got Rick and you got the group talking about what they should do next about Amy because they know Amy is going to come back. So Rick goes over there to tell Andrea about Amy. And Andrea points a gun at him. She tells him, I know how the safety works. Threatened to shoot him if he would have got any closer to Amy's body. And this right here shows you the progress. I mean, I'm telling you, if you go back to season 1 and watch these characters that's dead now, you're gonna be like, man, you're gonna miss them. I'm telling you, you're gonna see from the beginning how everything started. And now that these characters are gone, I mean, we had these characters since season 1. Andrea was there season 1. T-Dog was there season 1. We had Merle he didn't stay very long, but he was there for season 1. And if you go back and you watch and you see how far these characters has came, it's just amazing, man. And it's kind of emotional. You be like, man, it's like you grew up with these characters. You got to see them. Let's talk about the episode itself. We see the governor beating up Milton, of course. And it's revealed that he knew Milton was the one who had burnt the walkers up in the biter pit. And he's talking to Milton, and he goes on And he tells Milton, there's a threat you ended, meaning killing people. That's a threat. Then he goes on to say, you don't feel ashamed about enjoying it, meaning that killing people and basically enjoying it in the same process is good. That's what he does. And then he tells Milton, you smell the gunpowder and you see the blood, you know what that means. It means you're alive. You won. And this right here shows you how deep The Walking Dead is, because that world consumes you. That world comes down to survival of the fittest. And that right there just shows you. And I'm not saying the governor, but you do have good people that loses a part of their humanity in order to survive. Good people that do things they usually wouldn't do. Killing people over food, killing people over shelter, killing people over ammo in order to survive. That's what that world does to you. It turns you against humans. Even people that wasn't killers becomes killers. And that word is, man. And then he goes on to tell Milton, it means, oh no, I just said that. And he brags about killing people, and basically after he does it, taking their heads and using it as prized possessions to show his victory. He tells Milton, you take the heads so that you don't ever forget. And man, that right there was just deep. And then he tells Milton, kill or you die. And it's definitely means refer to what I just said about surviving and just killing people. And he made it clear that he was killing people to maintain his power, because he states this. And then Milton tells him, what would your daughter think about you, about what you are now? And the governor replies and he says, she'd be afraid, but if I had been like this from the start, she'd be alive right now. I was like, man, and you already thought he was already bad, but this right here just shows you that he's embracing this darkness that he's acquired now. He's embracing it. He's enjoying it. And even himself, he's admitting to Milton that I'm basically becoming evil. I'm showing no pity towards anybody because Milton is his best friend. Milton knew him before any of this happened. And look what he did to Milton. He even was torturing Milton by punching him in the face while he had him handcuffed to a pole. That's evil, man. That's just, and this like, and this right here shows you. This right here shows. Next, he takes Milton to Andrea, and basically he gives Milton a choice: you kill Andrea, or you basically you die. That's how that's how he put it. No, he didn't give him a choice. He said you have to kill her. There's no choice about this. There is no choosing. You don't get nothing. You have to kill her. And he knew Milton couldn't do it. He already had his plan. He gave Milton a knife, and he told him to kill her. And he know Milton is not that type of person. And Milton tries to attack him, but he grabs Milton's arm and he counters Milton's attack and stabs him. And let Milton slowly dies. And he tells Andrea, Milton is basically going to turn, and I'm going to leave you right there in that chair, in that torture chair. So when he turns, he's going to get up and he's going to attack you and basically try to and kill you. And that right there is how you know it became dark, because like I say, he was always kind of dark, but this right here was crazy. I would never approve of somebody getting eaten by a whole bunch of zombies. I mean, depending on the person it is, but come on, man, Andrea wasn't bad. And the reason why I felt bad for her, because at the end of this episode, the only thing she wanted was peace. She tried to be the voice of reason. And this right here tells you only the strong survives. You can't, everybody who tried to be the voice of reason died. Only person we got left is Hershel. Dale tried to be the voice of reason. He died. T-Dog tried to be the voice of reason in episode 4 by telling Rick that it's unhuman to leave those 2 prisoners out like that and not let them come into prison because it's dangerous out there. He tried to be the voice of reason. He ends up dying for it. Andrea tried to be the peacemaker and she ended up dying. And I felt bad for her because, like I say, she wanted peace. That's all she asked for. And she died for that. That's really, and like I said, when Michonne started crying, that really got to me, because when Michonne started crying, that showed you that life is too short to hold grudges. Because her and Andrea had their differences towards each other, and they never really got them resolved before Andrea died. Although Andrea did apologize to her about what happened, she never really got to fully apologize to her at a certain until that full extent. And I felt bad for her. They never really, but like I say, at least she died on the note by telling Michonne she was sorry, but I wish they could have gotten more out before it happened. And that let you know life is too short. That's what I was talking about with Glenn holding these grudges against Merle. And the next scene, Governor leaves Milton in there for dead, and he leaves him in the room with Andrea. And to me, Andrea had the pliers. While Milton was talking, I would have been trying to get those tools, because, like I say, Milton did take a long time to transform, but still, I would have still got those tools, because, like I say, she was talking to him, and while she was talking to him, at one point she wasn't even getting the tools. And let me add this: Andrea was going to commit suicide in the CDC lab. I don't know if I already said this, but and Dale taught her to be strong and be able to survive. And that's what, and like I said, I don't like what Glenn Mazzara did with this. I mean, I wouldn't want her. I wouldn't want her to. I would have never wanted her to die from a zombie, from Milton eating her up. But I would wanted her to die from a different death, because at the end of the day, all this stuff that Dale taught her about living totally contradicts the story now, because she still ends up committing suicide. I just wanted her to be able to die a different death. Not a painful death, but at least something different. Because like I say, she fought for this through season 1, through season 2. She became strong. She got over that. Andrea was suicidal, but she got over it. But now, in this episode, she goes right back to Route 1 and puts a gun to her head and blow her brains out. That's what I don't like about Glenn Mazzara. And I'm happy he gone. I'm so happy he gone. You don't know the joy how happy I am. And the governor attacks the prison. And, of course, Rick done fight back. Because, like I say, Rick is always looking for something long term. And he wasn't going to get that prison up. And now, one of the Woodbury soldiers escape. And Carl ends up shooting him in cold blood. And Rick talks to Carl about it, because Hershel tells Rick about what happened. And Carl lies and says that the kid was basically pointing his gun at him. And once Hershel tells Rick about it, Rick talks to Carl about what happened. And Carl lets him know. And this is how you know that world changes you as a whole. And basically your survival instincts kicking. That's what happened. Your survival instincts kick in. and he tells him that basically that Woodbury soldier was a potential threat. So I killed him. And then he goes on to tell Rick, because of me, Dale died. Because I was too scared to kill that zombie in the woods. And Dale died for that. And Carl don't want that to happen again. He don't want no potential threats to end up coming back and killing them. And he also goes on to tell Rick, you could have killed Andrew, but he survived and he killed Ma. Then he goes on to tell him, you could have killed the governor, but you didn't. Then he tells him you was in the same room with the governor, but you didn't. So he kills Merle. And I want to touch on this about the black thing. He mentions Merle. He mentions Lori. But Andrew killed T-Dog too. Why didn't he mention T-Dog? And it's not, it's the writers. T-Dog died too. It's like T-Dog is being overlooked. It's like his death. It's like his heroic death is being overlooked. He sacrificed himself for Carl, but yet the writers don't have nobody really bringing up his death. Andrew killed T-Dog too, but yet they have Carl bring up Merle death, and he barely even knew Merle. But he don't bring up T-Dog. He only bring up 2 people deaths. So, and he drops that badge, the sheriff badge that Rick used to wear. You could notice that the badge used to be on top of the sheriff hat that Rick used to wear in the middle, but he takes it out. And this right here shows you that Carl is basically following his own path now, his own theories on how he views the world and how things should go. Let me explain this a little further. It's like that badge represented something. The symbolic, the hope, the stuff that badge just contained, the elements that badge had in it and what it stood for was so deep. That's why I love that badge scene. That badge stand for justice, and fighting for people. Is and Carl used to live by that code, and you can tell that he found his own theories and his own ways of viewing the world now because he drops the badge. And at one point he used to love that badge, but now he don't even wear it on top of his cap anymore because he realizes that world is not like that. You can't be kind like that. You can't go around saving people like Rick used to do when he was a sheriff, helping people out. Because at the end of the day, it could end up coming back and biting you and basically getting you killed. And he don't want to have that mind perspective like that. And he just dropped the badge. But there's something else I noticed. He dropped the badge, but he kept the hat. The badge was originally on the hat, but that's just me. It's just me. But and the governor guns down his own people. This is what I'm talking about when the governor becomes dark. He gunned down his own people because they didn't want to go back and help him fight Rick them at the prison because they got scared. And Lauren tells him that we're not built for this type. We're not built for war. We'll help you fight the biters. But a war, we're not made for that. And he gets mad and he guns down his own people in cold blood. And this is how you know it kicks in, because when he gets angry, it's like everything just tunes out. Everything shuts down. And once he killed him, he didn't even realize what he did until he got in the truck. And he did it so bad until Martinez and Shumpert was scared to get in the truck with him. And that's why I don't get. When Allen had that gun pointing at the governor, why didn't he shoot the governor? He let the governor look at him. The governor looked at Allen and he smiled. It's like he took Allen as a joke. And he pulled the gun out of his out of his pants and just shot him dead in the head. But I don't feel no pity for no Allen. So That's what he get. But he gunned down his own people. And that right there shows you this true feeling that the governor is becoming. And that kind of makes me look forward to season 4. Just a little. I hope they I hope they write and improve for this season too. And Rick goes to Woodbury to attack the governor while their numbers is down. Because the governor is on the run. They left the prison and they go, but they ends up finding Tyrese. And they also end up finding Andrea though. As I talked about her death. And what Andrea brought to this episode, she opened up Rick's mind about viewing people. Because at one point, Rick had a trust issue with people. But when she tells him, I did this to try to bring peace, she opens his eyes again. And he realizes that sometimes you do need people. You can't cut off everybody. And that's what she brought to this episode. She opened his mind again. And that was so beautiful. So beautiful. Her death wasn't in vain. It definitely wasn't in vain. Because what she did to this man was beautiful. And she made him change his mind about how he views the world. And at the end, you can see he changed his mind because he takes the people from Woodbury. And he brings a big bus from Woodbury. Now, I don't think Woodbury is protected anymore because that bus did have barricades on it to keep the zombies out. And they drove that bus to the prison. And Carl gets mad because he brings the people back from Woodbury. Like I say, Carl sees the people at Woodbury as a potential threat. In our reality, though, those are old people. Those people couldn't even fight for themselves. That's the reason why they wasn't with the governor when he attacked the prison. Carl's getting mad, and the first thing coming to my head is Shane, because Shane got mad at Rick in season 2 because he brought Randall around, and he was going to release Randall, and Shane said he didn't want Randall released because he could come back with his people, and he saw Randall people as a potential threat, just like Carl sees those people from Woodbury as a potential threat. And he gets mad and he walks out. You can see how Rick's conscience is clear now because he's not hallucinating anymore. Because he used to look on the catwalk and see Laura, but at the end, he looks on the catwalk and Laura is gone. So, man, Andrea did her character death, did a lot of things to this episode. Beautiful. Oh my God, man. R.I.P. Andrea. I'm really gonna miss that woman. God knows I am. I'm gonna miss her. So overall, this episode was bad. And I expected it to be a lot more better because it was the season finale. But the only thing that really kept me attached to this episode was Andrea, and when the governor became dark. Like I said, that word consume you, man, and it make you do stuff you usually don't do. But I hope you guys enjoy my last and final Walking Dead review. I love every single one of y'all. Remember to subscribe, rate, and comment. And have a nice day.